Those topics, range from abortion to diversity, equity, inclusion, to economy, to Trump, to everything, right? And you would be alerted as to what the topic was going to be before you basically got up. And once you were told what the topic was, there was a clock. And the clock counted down 3, 2, 1. And when it hit go, it went 3, 2, 1, go. Once it hit go, you were meant to run up. And that's what it literally is. It's who's going to run fastest to the chair. And whoever gets to the chair first gets speaking privileges. Now, I don't know how long this entire Jubilee thing is. I suspect it's probably an hour, 60 minutes, so it's a limited amount of time. And each topic gets X amount of time. So you do want to fight for time, right?
I would say it's like, it depends
Is
how
it
many
2
topics
hours?
there are, but each topic's 20 minutes.
Yeah, so there were several topics. I mean, I saw at least 3, I think. So I think it's at least an hour, right? And so what?
Closer to 2.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 2 as well. I just didn't see any more than a couple of topics. And so what ended up happening was Tashika went live after Jubilee and did a video and basically said that Dean and Parker were performative advocates and that it seemed unfair from her standpoint that you have these two white guys who are meant to be advocating on behalf of marginalized communities, essentially fighting those same marginalized communities in order to get a seat at the table. And I listened to what Tashika was saying, right? And on the one hand, I was thinking, why are they having people run? And then I started thinking about like the inherent like inequality of having people run. In my head, I'm thinking, well, first of all, if you're disabled, you're not going to be able to run and get to the table, right? Let's say you're larger and you don't want to run because you may feel some sort of embarrassment by it having to run across a stage in order to get there. You may be clumsy. You may be fearful of falling. You may be a woman who's been conditioned to not compete physically in order to be able to try to get a chair. Like, imagine like running against other men in order to push them out of the way in order to get a seat at the table, right? Or you may be black and you don't want to appear aggressive because it is very aggressive in nature. It is literally pushing people out of the way. And so Tashika's point, I think, is a point against Jubilee, right? Because Jubilee sets it up like that and Jubilee should know better, right? And so I felt like Tashika's point were solid as hell, right? If I were her, I would be really frustrated how it's set up. But her point was a step further. And again, there's no hate in here. This is just to talk about it. And this was just sharing my thoughts because I'm Parker and Dean in this situation, right? I'm the white dude in this situation. I'm the white dude who largely talks about shit that's not white dude shit, right? And so when Tashika was talking, I was expecting to like feel personally attacked. And I kind of wasn't feeling personally attacked because while part of what she was saying was how Jubilee was essentially wrong for how it's set up, right? I was struggling with this because I was like, well, I'm a white dude. What would I have done in this situation? And I spoke to someone who I kind of trust about it. And I think what I would have done is I would have recognized the inherent inequality of how it's set up. And I would have recognized that it would be unfair just because I'm maybe more confident, or maybe I'm more athletic, or maybe I'm more comfortable physically pushing people out of the way, and that isn't how debate should happen. And I think I would have wanted to talk to the other 14 people before the live and said to them, hey, let's not do this. Let's be better than this shit. Or I would have perhaps ran up to the table, and once I got to the table, I would have said, you know what? I claim this seat, but I'm giving it to this other person. Or I would have went up and gotten my 4 minutes of fame, and then I would have announced to everyone it would be really shameful if we didn't have someone else come up right now. And that's not what happened. And I think that's kind of what I understood Tashika's point to be. Yes, there's an overall Jubilee issue, but then there's also sort of like the blindness of the privilege that you have in that moment and then not doing anything to correct it. And what I found, look, I don't know, am I overthinking this? Probably, right? But I went back and I looked at it.
No, I think there's a lot of things coming into play here. I mean, obviously the setup is terrible. I think the whole flag, raising your flag because they're doing a bad job is stupid
Ridiculous.
because because it's not. It's just like, oh, I just want my turn.
Yeah,
That's all
absolutely
it
ridiculous.
is.
And so,
I was really
okay.
shocked when she said that as soon as she sat down, both Parker and Dean raised their flags.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't find it on the video. I trust that that's what happened. What I looked at that just, I don't know, this stood out to me. And again, look, I talked to Parker and Dean, and I think everyone knows, like, I have no problem calling people fucking out, right? But like, I also don't have any hate for people, right? And so I don't want anyone in here hating on any one of these tree people. If you're going to be talking shit about anyone in these tree, like you're going to be muted because that's not really the point of it, okay? Here's the thing that I kind of caught that did kind of disturb me. There's the overall inequity of how it's set up that I feel like if you're an advocate, you would kind of be aware of the fact that if you're a woman, you're not going to be able to run to the chair in high heels as easily as a dude in sneakers, right? And that you would do something to address that inequity to some degree, right? But then I
Well, and
noticed this.
even the position of where you're sitting.
How so? Oh, yeah. Because
Yeah,
some people are obviously on the far side
his
of the
6
chair.
o'clock is way farther away than at his 12.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Oh, all right. I didn't know Tashika was coming up. Um,
Hey,
hey,
I
Tashika.
see you
I
talking
just want
about
to
this.
say, if it's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt anyone.
That's
If
okay.
it's a circle and they're in the middle, I don't know that that's the way, like a radius of a circle works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's again that's a Jubilee general issue. But then I thought there was another issue, and the thing I just wanted to point out was I'll run through it super quick, okay? Because this was just the thing that stuck out to me. And then Tashika, you can feel free to share your thoughts. And again, I'm not trying to turn this into a hate any group. I don't know. Like I spoke to some people about this because I was disturbed because I was like, I'm the Parker Dean in this situation. How do I feel about this? And I don't know. I kind of feel like I would have maybe handled it a little bit differently. But there's this part that really got to me. Look at this setup right now. Look, it says number three. They're about to count down. And Tashika, sorry for like analyzing what may have been a traumatic moment in this sort of level of detail, but like this is just how my brain works. I'm sorry. But if you look at where obviously it says T, so that's identifying where Tashika is. And then you have D where it says Dean, P where it says Parker. And then I want you to look below the left red flag on the left. You see two lines. I'm indicating someone there on the left, okay? It seems to be someone who's a black fellow who later on you're going to see try to get to the seat, okay? So I want you to look at those four people. There's 3 seconds to count down, and it goes 3, 2, 1, and then it says go. And once it says go, that's when you're meant to move. And I don't know, this just felt weird to me. When I was looking at it, when you count it down, let me do this a slightly different angle. And this is just, guys, again, this is not a hate thing. I really don't want this to turn into a hate thing. It's more like sort of like awareness, I guess. So this was at 3 seconds. Tashika is sitting as you're meant to be sitting. You're not meant to be moving. The black man who's on the bottom left-hand corner behind the 2 bars is also not moving. Dean, respectfully, Dean's already got his arms on his chair ready to pounce, and Parker already has 1 foot out, right?
Oh yeah, I have multiple things to say about that as someone who's sitting right next to them. But if you want me to,
And now, I'm about to get there. Now you get to 2 seconds. And when you're at 2 seconds, Tashika's still not moving because you're not meant to move, right? The black man who's on the left hand side, who's got the 2 red bars in front of him, also has not moved. Dean is now out of his chair. Okay, he's above his chair. I don't know if you can see that. He's literally above his chair. And Parker's got like a full foot out, right? And then you go to 1 second left. Tashika's doing exactly what you're meant to do, which is stay seated in the chair, right? And the black man on the left, you can see his hand is now starting to be like, why are those white guys going? And Dean and Parker are already in a sprint. Okay, everyone else is seated. They're getting a 1 to 2 second jump. And this just stood out to me, okay?
I just have to laugh thinking back to it, dude.
And then when you get to go, they're already
dude,
up.
I'm so sorry.
And the black man, I don't know if you noticed, but his hands are out. Look at his knees. He's seated. His
wasn't
knees are fully
exaggerating.
seated. Sorry?
I'm sorry, but I'm so happy that you guys saw this.
Well, I mean,
Because
this is
what I
what
said
stood
in
out
the
to
video,
me.
I wasn't exaggerating. Like
No, I didn't think you were. And so I did this as carefully as I could, okay? This was 1 second. This was the millisecond it hit go. So like for me to stop it at this was literally the millisecond. And then maybe I would guess a quarter of a second more. Boom. Notice Tashika moves her arm. Tashika waits till go. And notice the black man waits till go. Do you see that? Everyone else waits to go. But Dean and Parker have this large jump. And Dean and Parker, if you guys are here, like, I'm not hating on you guys. I just thought this was really emblematic of like white dude privilege, how you guys got like a full 2 steps ahead of everyone else while running to the white guy. So then I kept watching, right? And I'm sorry to break it down like this. I'm not trying to start shit, right? Then you got this amazing shot of Dean and Parker passing Tashika. And unfortunately, you're not going to get it perfectly, but let me just frame it like this. It'll come out
That is
better.
king.
And Tashika, like, I didn't expect you to join. So, like, I'm talking on your behalf. And maybe you can correct me after this and I'll go back over them.
I'm happy
when-
that you're talking about this.
When I saw this,
let's get her point of view.
well, I do want to just go through it. Okay, like, I genuinely just want to go through it, and then
Okay,
I'd
fine.
love to hear what Tashika's point is, right? When I saw this, I saw one seeing these 2 guys, and I'm thinking, you're just like, that's how it fucking is, isn't it? Like, that's you almost, there's a resignation to, that's just how this is all set up, right?
It was very poetic.
Then I see them running, and Parker didn't see Dean sneaking in on the left. Parker thought he had it. That's why he's a smiley face right now, right? Dean kind of swoops in. I don't know how he did it, right? And then notice Parker's face. He firms up because there's a resignation on his face. God damn it, Dean beat me. And then this topic, by the way, just to be clear, was DEI, right? Which is sort of not related to these guys. And then boom, you've got the 2 white guys congratulating themselves for getting to the white table before all the other people who are actually influenced by the DEI thing. And then last thing I was going to say, and then everyone else can say whatever they want. What annoyed me more than anything is I understand Parker and Dean's intellectual point that DEI is similar to what happens with regard to the Electoral College, right? In my opinion, that's a debater's point. That's not a human point. And I think it really misses a large part of it because Electoral College was a contract. And it was a contract where the minority, the rural states, had the bigger states by the balls. And that's how that contract was created. The rural states wouldn't join unless the larger states bend to their will. And so it's a little perverse to me to talk about the Electoral College, which was formed by a powerful minority to oppress the larger majority because they had extra power at that time. And that's so the opposite of what DEI actually is meant to stand up for, which is the idea of correcting harms done by the majority to the minority. And like, I'm not black, right? So I don't know. But if I was up there, I'd be kind of pissed at someone talking about the Electoral fucking College because like no one's like, that's where the smaller group had the power, which is the exact opposite for women, the exact opposite for poor people, the exact opposite for black people. And I just feel like if someone else was at the table who was more invested in it, they would have made the human argument, not the debate bro argument. So sorry, that was just my analysis. I just want to share it and I wanted to see what people's thoughts were. That's it all out now. Tashika, sorry for taking you up. Go ahead and feel
You're fine.
free to share.
I'm very happy that there are at least people who see what I'm talking about and the fact that I was super not fucking exaggerating that entire time. So let's keep this picture right here, right?
Oh.
I want to let you guys know this was a 5-hour long shoot. And I heard you make a comment saying that like we should have communicated with each other before the shoot started. We actually did, right? When I first walked into the studio, It wasn't a studio, it was a fucking warehouse. When I first walked into the warehouse, and there were already people there, a lot of people there. And we were talking about the past Jubilee video. And we all had the exact same complaint that people were not using the flags correctly, and that people were running for the chair, and how dehumanizing that is, and how it makes us look like a bunch of rats in an oiled up bucket.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I was again like, I was talking to, and if you see the beautiful man to my right, that's his name is Skylar.
Okay.
Skylar and I were talking about this the entire time in the like before we shot. Like we were with each other. You can see, like, even like when the camera pans to us, our seats are closer together because we're communicating this with each other.
I think you guys look at each other, if I remember.
All the time.
I saw
I
that.
have his number. We are best friends. I fucking love Skylar, okay? And I got some more stuff about him and Dean as well. And so we made sure, like, I had conversations with people. The group that was there, we had conversations like, please, like, I know you're going to want to talk. And also the director said, everyone at some point is going to get a chance to talk. You don't need to vote people out just so you can talk. Like, everyone's going to get a chance to talk. She also said, do not run. She also said, do not get out of your chair until the time is up. I don't know about you. Not only am I not going to get, and I said this in my video, not only am I not going to get in a huge scuffle with a bunch of men, okay? I'm not a fast person. I'm a plus size woman. A lot of these men are smaller. A lot of like Dean, for example, is like more athletic. I'm almost never going to win a race against that guy.
Yeah.
I'm just not. And most of the women there aren't either, right? Naima was wearing heels. A lot of the other, like, okay, so matter of fact, do you guys like know exactly
if you trip him, I think you could.
No. Dean fell.
Oh, I heard that, but I
There
didn't
was
see
one.
it.
I don't know if they cut it in the video, but there was a point where Dean ran to the chair so hard he fell on his ass. Like, he straight up slipped. I guess they cut it from the video. I'm not saying that as if it's a problem. I'm saying, like, how hard they were running for 10 feet. It was insane. And so, like, I don't know if it's obvious in the video, but the way that it is, also, they lied about how many people were going to be there. Also, they said it was 20, it's 28. So the way that it is, like, within the circle, they kind of split it in half. And so for each of the questions, every time one person goes from one side, then another person will go from one side. And then another person, like, we weren't racing against the entire circle. We raced against our half of the circle. And so I think that's really important because, like, obviously the people on the right side are going to have a little bit more of an advantage because the table is faced away from us. But then also the fact that, like, you can see in this, there's only 3 women on my side.
So God, you've no idea. I hyperfixating, right? ADHD was going to control. So I was like, maybe it'd be helpful if I went around and identified all the women. Maybe it'd be helpful if I went around and identified anyone who was black. And then I realized I'm about to get canceled if I start making these assumptions. But it was something I was really interested in. Was what were the demographics there compared to, like, who actually got a chance to talk?
Oh no, minorities.
Like, it was
if you
mostly
go
men.
ahead and count the time, we only got about 10 minutes to speak out of a hour and 40-minute video. Also, you see the young man sitting next to me. His name is Skylar. At some point during the shoot, because Dean and Parker kept doing this fuckery that you see right there, Skylar, I believe it was either for the DEI or immigration, but at some point, Skylar had to look at Dean and be like, you have already spoken. Can you please let, like, a minority speak? Can you please let, you know what I mean? And at some point, like, Skylar did actually get to go up, right? But he wasn't given a lot of time because he was immediately voted out. People didn't want to listen to what he said. And the thing is, though, and you'll see it in my video, I don't want to keep, like, reiterating stuff, is that I went up to people who put up their flags.
And you asked them why.
I asked
what
them,
was wrong with my
what
argument?
was wrong with my argument? What was the issue? What would you have said? Oh, nothing was wrong. You did great. I just wanted to talk. Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they were thirsty to get their moment.
That's so crazy. Only Jay is.
To
You
everyone,
didn't even talk.
sorry, to everyone who's a mod in here, just a reminder to everyone in here, right? I don't want like hate dogpiling. That's not the point of this, right? I do want to hear debate on this because, like, again, I'm the Dean Parker dude in this situation, right? So, like, I'm really curious of all thoughts of this. So, if everyone in here just chill with like the hate, getting upset on any one of the tree people, stop that shit. You're gonna get muted. You're gonna get banned. Okay. Other than that, feel free to like talk about what you think was right or wrong or what could have been done better.
Yeah.
Like, I've spent hours thinking about this, and it's honestly mindfuck. It was kind of eye-opening to me. Like, I loved your video. I loved the points you made. It really opened my eyes to the idea of privilege to the point where I wanted to analyze the video frame by frame, and it was fascinating. It really
was crazy to be there for 5 hours dealing with that.
So when you say there was a discussion that took place beforehand where you guys all recognized the inherent inequity of the way that Jubilee was organized, what was your strategy?
None of us liked the format. We were literally, the only strategy was like, hey, first of all, stop running, right? Second of all, like, because I
so everyone agreed, don't run. Everyone agreed.
Yeah.
So you're saying there was consensus with everyone that you all said we're not going to run.
Most of the people that were there, we spoke to most of the people that were there, and we're like, please. Yeah, like we were all talking in a group. And I remember being like, we were discussing what we didn't like about the past video. So I thought everybody was on the same page. I thought everybody understood, like, obviously, if you did not like the past format, maybe not perpetuate the same fuckery. I don't know. That's just me, though.
So can I ask a question? Because this is sort of a thing that I see people can take advantage of.
The rule was
am I
not
right
to
in
run.
saying, am I, sorry?
No, somebody asked, was the rule not to run? No, the director explicitly said, do not run.
And
as
am
you
I
can
right?
see in the video, I'm sorry, just really quickly.
No,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
As you can see in the video, that big ass cord, go ahead and like keep looking at it throughout the video. They had to keep covering it with tape because people were just running. And that's why Dean bust his ass, because he tripped over that cord.
Got it.
Like,
so let me ask you this. Before then, am I right in saying all of you agreed on the issue of running, but am I right that no one said they won't run? And is it fair to say that that may have been intentional in the sense that...
No. I 100% agree with you there.
Okay.
Clearly there was not a full consensus, but I spoke to as many people as I could.
No, but there was a consensus. There just wasn't a promise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's sort of like, we all agree, but, in the moment...
When push came to shove...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and people wanted to clip farm. Yeah.
It's kind of giving Hunger Games.
It was very predatory in nature.
It is predatory. Yeah, I fully agree with that.
I have a critique too when you're done, Chico.
No, I'm done right now. I'm just really happy you guys are talking about this because all of the women and a lot of the women in this video, which was only like 7 of us plus only Jay's, like we fucking cried.
Yeah, I heard that afterwards when you guys went out.
It was insane. Like I had genuinely never experienced anything like this before in my life. But I'm not gonna get ahead of you. Clearly, you have your bullet points. So
no. So this is actually helpful. So if you don't mind, let's break it down. Like if you don't mind, like bit by bit, right? Mm-hmm. So before you or a large group of you all talk about the problems you've had. One of them is the running. You also mentioned flags. What was the general consensus among people about the flags and how you all were going to do it?
That people didn't like the past way that people were using the flags because, like, literally everyone had seen the previous Jubilee video. So, and we all had the same critique. So I thought, oh, cool. Like, we all get that, like, that shit was wild. Like, we all get that, like, it wasn't a bunch of Democrats versus Charlie Kirk. It was a bunch of Democrats versus each other to debate Charlie Kirk. Yeah. So, like, I thought we were all in agreement. Maybe that was my fault that I wasn't explicitly saying, hey, don't do this. But given the fact that it seemed like everyone was on one accord, that, like, the past Jubilee video was infuriating to watch, I thought that everybody had that common sense. My bad.
And so so the two major things were don't run. The second one was flags. Was there any other general Jubilee complaint that was brought up that you remember before the right before the thing happened?
Like from other people?
Yeah, that other general sort of consensus, we're not going to do this shit again. Like, was there any discussion about, hey, if there's a question about abortion, guys, can you let one of the women go up?
Oh
Hey, if
yeah,
there's a...
no, I don't, and they cut this out of the video. But I realized very early on what I was in for 5 hours. Okay, I realized very early on, and I don't know if they cut out the video. I'm not gonna watch the video again. I was fucking there, but like, at some point, I'm like, I like kind of yell, kind of whisper yell, can we please let a black woman speak? Because most of us there, we're black women. All of the women there, we're black women, other than JS. And JS never fucking talked. So I was like, can we please let a woman speak? Can we please let a black woman speak? I said that out loud. Because I noticed that, like, okay, this is about to be a level of fuckery that I've never experienced before in my life. And so, like, my goodness. And I say this in my video, and that is, I'm sorry, I don't want to get emotional. That is the part that made me really upset, and that is the part that made me cry. Because when it came down to the Middle Eastern debate, it was like everybody understood, we're going to let the Arab guy talk about this one. Oh, we're going to let the Jewish guy talk about this one. And then
when it came to race, it was not.
Yeah, but when it came to race or my body or marginalized groups, it was like free reign. It was like no one had any consideration for any of the other groups in the room. Like, it was ridiculous. And that is, again, why the marginalized people in that video had a collective 10 minutes to speak out of an hour and 40 minutes.
I mean, Tashika, I am... The reason why I wanted to talk about it was when I saw your video, I got the sense that a lot of people were going to walk away from your video saying you were being overly dramatic. I really did. I thought most people would be like, what is she complaining about? That's what Jubilee is, right? And when I saw it, like, look, you may have your own words for Parker and Dean, right? The way I saw it, how I would have felt if I was in your position, would have been how this was sort of a betrayal of ideals in a sense. Like, this was meant to be a safe space. Everyone in the circle was meant to be on the same ideological page as you, to care about the same issues, to prioritize the same people, to prioritize the same voices. And then you found out in real time, sit your ass down. And I would imagine it would have been extremely emotional. Like, I don't think it's overreacting at all. I think it's, it's a culmination. Like, it's not the incident on its own. It's what it represents.
Correct. And that's what absolutely destroyed me, because regardless of any issue I have personally with Parker and Dean, I still expected for them to have that basic courtesy. Because I thought I've seen them do it before. Like, I expected for them at least, like, for example, with and that's why I actually had to go up, and if it's on my account, like, I had to make a My Argument Explained video.
I saw that, yeah.
Because it was absolutely insane that I go up to speak to Ben, and Parker and Dean, two people who I've debated this topic with, who have praised my arguments, they, out of everyone in the room, should have known exactly where I was going. Exactly where I was going.
I mean, presumably part of the betrayal was that they did know. And
so for them to raise their flags was insane. But then to also find out from the people sitting next to me that they were communicating on when to vote people out so they can speak, broke my fucking heart.
So I heard you say that in the video. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what is it you saw or heard? Because I think I heard you saying that...
I didn't hear anything. I didn't want anything to do with them. It was good to see them in person, whatever. I still, for the sake of my mental health, wanted nothing to do with them. I was drowning them out so hard that, like, Dean even tried to speak to me. I didn't even fucking hear him. But again, the beautiful man next to me, Skylar, spoke to Dean for a lot of the shoot, as well as overheard conversations that he was having with Parker. And so he would relay that to me during the shoot.
And what did he relay? I mean, I heard part of it, what it is you said, but like, why
Right.
don't
So
we share it again?
he would relate to me during the shoot that he had to tell Dean to sit the fuck down, of which he obviously didn't listen to. That like when people were going up, even if they were making good arguments or even when they were just discussing things with Ben, that Dean would tell Parker to put his flag up. It was really weird. It was really, really strange. And I saw someone in the comments say, "Didn't you put up your flag for a black woman?" Yeah, because I used it correctly. Like,
Meaning you disagree
putting
with
up the flag isn't the issue. You're supposed to put up the flag if you feel like the person who is debating is not representing your side right. I, at the very least, allow people the common courtesy to state their proposition. And if I disagree with their proposition, then I put the flag up. Other people did not do that. That is the difference.
Yeah.
Like, I can disagree with black women. Like...
Yeah, and so like, look, part of why I just wanted to have the live again, and I'm just gonna like show this one more time because I do think it's telling. I think like if like for people who would have saw Tashika make the video, and for Tashika to be presumably to everyone looking at it at first glance, just complaining about how Jubilee works, I think kind of missed the point in my opinion.
Yes.
And so like I'm just going to show these screenshots because like this really drove it home for me. I'm going to remind people who weren't here before, the way it's meant to work is it goes 3, 2, 1, go, and you're meant to walk up to the chair. And I know it doesn't always work like that.
The director specifically used the term speed walk. We weren't supposed to run, speed walk.
Yep.
I'm so sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. Continue. I'm so sorry.
No, it looks ADHD as well, so interrupt when you want. So this is what it looked like at 3 seconds. And again, this is no hate towards Dean and Parker, right? It's more so like, I think it's just like a learning moment, right? At 3 seconds, you're not meant to be moving. And if you look at Tashika where it says T, she's sitting almost on her hands the way you're meant to be doing. If you look at the black man who later makes a move for the table, that's where the 2 red lines are on the left, also hands on knees, not moving. And then you have Dean and Parker. And, to be fair, Dean, you have your hands ready, so you're ready to pounce, and Parker's already get 1 foot out the door, right? When we flip now to 2 seconds, Tashika is still very clearly sitting as she was a moment ago. Like, that's it a moment ago, no change. But Dean, I'm sorry, buddy. Dean's now leaning forward, like he's about to like run a marathon and wants to get a head start. And Parker's still got the foot out, right? And still no change if you look at the black man on the left-hand side with 2 lines. If you know his name, she could just tell me his name, so I'm not constantly reverting like that.
Put him on Instagram. I can go find it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's just disrespectful to refer to him like that, but I obviously don't know his name. And then when you go from 2 seconds and then, sorry, that's the close-up, right? And when you go from 2 seconds to 1 second, at 1 second, meaning you're not meant to be up out of your seat. You're not meant to be doing anything. You're meant to be seated down. That's the rule. Tashika's sitting down, following the rule. Now, this isn't about, Tashika should get a cookie because she's following the rule. It's more so about thinking about... What's the name?
C-A-M. His name is Cam.
It's more about like thinking about why Tashika or the other people would have felt like they have to follow the rule. They didn't feel empowered to break the rule. And the 2 people who did were Dean and Parker, to be fair. Dean's already leaned over. And in fact, if you watch the video carefully, Dean's actually out of the seat before Parker is. Because if you go back to 2, Dean's already out of his seat at 2. I don't know if you can see that, right? But Parker's really quick and he's got giant legs and he already had that leg up. So when you go to 1, Parker's already gone, but Dean's also already gone. Tashika's still sitting the way she's meant to be sitting. And so there's the close-up. Tashika hasn't moved. Cam on the left is now getting a little bit alarmed because Dean and Parker are running. And as a reminder, this is about DEI, right? And then we get to the go, and this is the millisecond, which at this point, nobody should have heard go, because this was the exact second where it said go. If you look at Cam, Cam is seated. Look at his knees. His knees are seated, but he has arm out ready to go. Whereas Dean and Parker are like one solid step ahead of everyone else. Now, if you go the next millisecond, boom, Tashika starts to move and Cam starts to move. They wait. And I just thought it was a really interesting discussion about, entitlement. And again, I'm the white guy here. I'm Dean and Parker here. What made Dean and Parker feel like they could do that? And why not think about why other people wouldn't feel as comfortable breaking those rules and why they wouldn't feel as comfortable breaking the rules? And then just to follow it through, this image is heartbreaking. Like, I know it looks funny, but like, Tashika, I'm really sorry if you get emotional, like or if I'm over exaggerating it. This is a sad photo to me, in a way. This is Dean and Parker a couple of steps ahead, and it's very clear Tashika just said, "I'm going to sit down." What's the point? I give up.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry if I'm overstating it, but like that's how it felt when I saw it.
No, but like that's exactly how it felt, because I just felt like there was no point in getting up for anything.
I'm so sorry.
Because I knew that I knew I was just never going to win a race against Dean. I knew I was never going to be able to win a race against any of the men in the room. And it just felt like they just had such free reign over my body and over my rights. And I just felt like I just was given no space to talk. And then the other thing is the fact that it was very apparent who the video was for. It was very apparent.
What do you mean who the video was for? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was very apparent who the director wanted the camera to be on.
Yeah.
If you look at that room, the way that we are seated, that large part, it is just people like us, like influencers or some shit, whatever the fuck you want to call us.
People like you.
That like 45% of that circle is just a bunch of people with large followings.
Okay.
And like, but it was very apparent, like even down to the fact that like the director only knew Dean and Parker's name.
Yeah.
Like, even down to that, even down to the way that like they were treated, even down to the way that like there was a very obvious bias towards the way that the women were being treated there. I just felt like I've never felt, how do I say this? Like, in real life, I have never felt so overtly marginalized before.
Yeah.
I have never felt so openly disrespected and disregarded. I've never experienced that before. There was one girl there who spent days preparing to debate Ben.
Is this the 7-page person?
Yes.
The person who did 7-page amount of...
And it's like she didn't even get to speak on the topic. And she said she got into the car. She didn't even get home. She just fucking cried in her car.
And like...
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Please continue.
Like, I don't want to make this whole situation just, I don't know, like me having a sob story, because people are already like critiquing me on what I should have done.
That's what I'm trying to make it not.
Like,
so that's exactly the point. I don't think this is an over-exaggeration at all. And I didn't want that getting lost because it annoyed me that I saw people sort of making it into, oh, Tashika doesn't like Parker and Dean. And it's like, you could switch Parker and Dean out for any other two white dudes. Like, I'm not even attacking Parker and Dean individually as much as more what it's emblematic? What the hell's the word I'm looking for? Of in regard to, folk like me who don't necessarily recognize the privilege. Because when I saw this moment, right, some people will see this and they'll be like, oh, look at Tashika looking spitefully at her ex-friends, right? When I saw this moment, I'm thinking Tashika's sitting in a room with people who have made an implicit promise that they care about marginalized people and that they're there. to help marginalized people. I'm so fucking sorry because like my heart felt for you. My heart felt for you. I'm so sorry, Cheek. It's okay. You're allowed to cry. Like it. This would have been a really traumatized moment for someone. I genuinely think it would have been. And I just wish like Dean and Parker, to the extent you guys hear about this, this isn't like a hate thing against you two. I think it's more like just like recognize why it would have been hurtful. Like Tashika's in a room with all these people who made this implicit promise that they care, that they get it, that they're there for you, and then they take advantage of all the assets they have, their popularity, the fact that they're guys, the fact that they're faster, the fact that they're allowed to cheat, nobody's going to call them out on it because they're popular, and they then get a head start that nobody else is able to come back from, and then there's a resignation. That's sort of, this is just how the world is. And I honestly saw this, and this is like so fucking maybe over exaggerating it. I saw this sort of like almost like elections and shit. How it is if you're a marginalized person, how you must feel every time you think people are going to go to bat for you, and you're constantly just taught that they don't give a shit about you, and how you just get resigned to the fact this is the way it is. I will constantly be let down, forgotten, and left behind.
Say something, Irish?
If I could just
Yeah,
one
go ahead. I'm
sec,
feeling nervous
Irish,
talking
I
so
just
much.
wanted to, I just wanted to come up. Irish, I'm not sure what you're seeing on your end, but no one can see Tashika in this picture.
What?
No one
Can
can
you guys
see.
not see Tashika on the left-hand side?
And half her face.
Yeah, the half side of her face. Can everybody see the right-hand side of her face?
I
No,
see
not
like
at
my
all.
hair in my cheek.
Yeah, Marmar sees it. All right, hang on. I can fix it right now. Hold on.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons I wanted to come up.
And yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to say that, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen videos or taken like social sciences classes where they make you do the activity where everyone starts standing on a wall and then like
Yep.
certain people take a step forward. So if you're white, you take a step forward. If your parents are still
That's
together,
exactly what I thought of.
forward. That is exactly the exercise that like this reminded me of. And I wonder
Much better.
if they had
Is that
everyone
better?
participate in that activity before they even spoke, if it would have changed the way people behaved. Like, I genuinely wonder if Dean and Parker are able to do that sort of self-reflection on the way that they engaged and participated with this activity. Like, I don't know if it's an awareness issue. Some people are saying it's a clout issue. I don't know them well enough to speak on that, but I do wonder if they care enough to have that perspective.
Yeah,
I just wanted. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I do think there's a lot of intersections here. We can see that like from Dean's first Jubilee, where he was debating Charlie Kirk, to his second, where he was against 20 conservatives. He got so much clout that he ended up surpassing Parker. And so there is a lot of opportunity within these kind of setups, especially for them. And then even analyzing essentially the strategy or the standard that's kind of been set for debate talk on what a successful platform looks like. I have a hard time being a single host because I do talk about a lot of different issues. And so in order to essentially amplify my intersectional feminist, I have to be intersectional and have other people up there. And so is it a successful platform when you are talking about marginalized communities, but you do it as a single host and you don't allow marginalized communities to come up and also have access to that platform?
I'll say it as a fucking white dude. I have no idea how the fuck I'm meant to do advocacy after this. Like, I'm not joking. Like, this really fucked with me today. Like, I was really thinking, how do we not all end up like Dean and Parker in this photo? Because like, I want to be able to talk. It's my live, right? That's why I do it. I want to be able to talk, right? And so like, how do you overcome that selfish desire in order to be able to raise other people up? And I think it's really fucking challenging. And I really was struggling with it myself. And I think like, that's why I want to talk about it. Again, I'm not Tashika in this situation. I'm the two dudes on the right-hand side with the unfair advantage and the lead running past you, not necessarily even realizing that I had that advantage to begin with. And so I honestly really appreciate you doing the video, because I think it really, I don't know, I think it opened up a lot of discussion in my server anyway about this issue that was really helpful. But if you want to talk more about it, Jashika, because like I do think you were very much misunderstood, or I saw people misunderstanding it. I saw people stupidly thinking this was a beef issue, as
Oh
opposed to
my
people
god,
thinking
that's
the
exactly
trauma
what
part of it.
that's exactly what I unmuted for, because and I feel so, it feels so fucked, because I go back and the video that I posted about my argument is low-key blowing up, and I go and I'm looking at the search bar, and why does it say Tashika and Dean drama? What are we talking? Like, are people not listening to what I'm saying? Like, do people like give a shit? And that is the part on both of my videos. That is the search, bro. I don't care. Like, this is not about some personal fucking beef that I have with Dean or Parker. It is the principle of it all that these two build their entire platforms off of pretending that their spaces are safe for people like me. And this is how they behaved when we are in the room. That is the problem. I don't give a fuck about some past beef I had where they abandoned me to an abuser. I don't care. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that they at least could, at the very least, in front of a bunch of black women, have some decorum. At the very least. And they didn't, and that's hurtful. And the thing is, though, the other thing that fucks with me is the fact that other people who went home and were unhappy and cried, none of them felt like they would be able to make a video about them. I'm the only one to do this. I am the only one to get up and do this. I am texting people, say, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about our experience. And no one feels like they can do it because no one feels like people will care. I think that's insane. I was talking to Will today, and I was asking him, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do when these spaces that were curated by people who look like me, for people who look like me, are overtaken by cishet male voices, and people prefer to only hear those voices speak about my experiences? What do I do? This is why there's no other large black TikTok like debaters. I feel alone. What do I do? How do I grow? With who? With what? I don't have the same alliances that they do. I don't have the same proximity that they do. I feel trapped and I feel like shit all the time. All the time. Because I don't feel like I can move anywhere. I don't feel like I can move anywhere without this proximity to whiteness. And they're so uppity to the fact that they feel like they can do that in a room. And they have no respect for the people who are actually there. They don't understand what racism looks like in a thematic sense. They understand the history. They know the history. They do not actually understand what they are talking about when they talk about racism, if this is how they behave when there are black people in the room. They do not understand misogyny and misogynoir if this is how they behave when there are women and black women in the room. They don't know. So, and I don't understand. Actually, I do understand, but it is still painful at the fact that people prefer to hear my arguments. People prefer to hear my black philosophy from their mouth. The concept of uplifting marginalized voices has been bastardized by people who prefer to feel better about themselves but still want to hear advocacy from other white people. And that hurts me. That hurts the fuck out of me. I'm a very loud and passionate person. I'm not going to be calm about misogyny. I'm not going to be calm about misogynoir. I'm not going to be calm about racism. I'm not going to be calm about grape culture, because these are all the things that hurt me specifically. I'm not going to be calm about rape, about like abortion and things like this. These are all things that affect me specifically. Of course, Dean and Parker are going to be more cordial than I am. They're going to be nicer than I am. They're going to be calmer than I am. But people assume when they hear a black woman get loud, they equate being loud with being angry and being angry with being unintelligent. And so they tune out what I say. But if they get loud, it's seen as passion, and people are more likely to listen to them. That shit hurts me. It hurts me. That has been fucking with me. Even when we were friends, that has been fucking with me. I've been dealing with this the entire time I've been on TikTok. The entire time. I would, even when we were friends, I would go up on their lives. Why is it all of a sudden the Maz don't know their job? Why am I getting called an angry black woman in your chat? What's going on? And they don't know, and they don't recognize it, because they don't actually understand what they're talking about. But people will still prefer to hear their words. People will still prefer to watch them because they're cishet white men. And people relate to them more for some fucking reason. But yeah, I'm sorry for ranting. I'm just like,
No. I mean, this is what I wanted. Like, I didn't anticipate you joining at all, right? But like, this is sort of like part of where it is. I wanted to talk about was the fact that, like, let's be real for a moment, right? There's debate bros who are able to articulate the issue in a logical manner, right? But they don't necessarily feel the issue. And the people who feel the issue are the people who are going to have emotion. And we've created this sort of like debate matrix where when you start to express emotion, you start getting discredited as somehow lacking validity as a debater, when really you're just bringing the emotion of you being personally affected by the issue, or at least feeling the harm that the issue is doing. It doesn't mean you're not also going to make logical arguments at the same time. And it's almost like we're promoting in debate world those who are more removed from the issues.
it's respectability politics.
Well, that's another part of it.
Yes.
And so, like, I understand the frustration. And again, for people in here, like, I'm going to remind you, I'm the Dean or Parker in this situation. Because, like, you know, there's lots of people who will come to me to do that white man whisperer thing, right? And so, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. This idea that someone will say something in my ear and I repeat it, and all of a sudden, everyone on the panel understands it. And you think you're doing good, and I try to do, like, I'm hoping I'm doing good, but at the same time, every time you're doing it, you're reminding the person whispering in your ear that their voice means nothing without my echoing it, without me amplifying it. And so, like, you know, I don't know what the right answer is, and I have no idea how to get there. That's why I was kind of like ethically really fucked in the head today, trying to figure out like what does white male advocacy look like. But like, I also recognize that there was harm that we are able to identify, even if there's no solution. And I was a little frustrated the harm that happened on that Jubilee event was not being recognized, because it was being minimized as being personal beef. It was being minimized as TikTok drama. And that was a really shitty framing of where the emotion was coming from. The emotion was coming from was your voice only matters when it's coming out of like white lips, and how invalidating that must feel in real time to see that happening, especially when there was like sort of a unspoken promise before the live that everyone is on the same page about uplifting certain groups, and then to be betrayed in that moment. Like, how is that not devastating? How is that not traumatic? So, I mean, that's what I wanted to talk about, was like this idea of calling it drama needs to just stop. People need to recognize what it was. It was, I mean, let me get the image again. And I don't know if you were able to see all these images, because I didn't know it was cut off, which is frustrating because it loses part of the impact of the images. But, you know, this to me really I don't know. It almost like if you think of it in different levels of privilege, you got the two white guys who are out of their seat before the bell rings, who are absolutely breaking the rules. You have the black man who maybe has that little extra privilege over the black woman, who's Tashika, who's like one privilege again removed, and Tashika hasn't even moved. And so it goes, if there's an actual like sort of order to it, right? You have Tashika, and then you add in the male privilege, and then you have Cam just moving a little bit quicker than Tashika, and then you add in the white privilege, and you got Dean and Parker already off to the races. And like that's what this is about, I think, not petty beef or petty drama. And so I don't know. I just wanted to kind of like get people to reorientate the conversation about it. And hopefully Dean or Parker, like to the extent they hear about this, I hope it's not understood by them to be an attack as much as just recognize how it must have felt to have been any other person in that seat, seeing their voices being spit out through their lips while also being, sat down and not being able to participate and have a seat at the table, literally. Kenzie, I don't know. I think you were saying you did want to say something earlier.
Well, I think we can take a look at like who by follower count has the largest following in terms of like political takes, and it is cis het white men. We got what Harry Sisson, Chris, Dean, Parker. And then even when it comes to the debate strategy now, we see the same template being run, even the same backgrounds. And so this is has been my frustration kind of like with the liberal ideology or even the Philbro philosophy on it you just lose some aspect of uniqueness and sincerity. And believe it or not, one of the reasons I like Irish is because I think he's genuine. And he's not here for clout or here for money. And I'm not saying that Dean or Parker are, but when that gets in your way, it really changes how you conduct yourself and your arguments in what you represent.
Completely, well, not completely unrelated. Tashika, you were saying like about not knowing like whether like how or whether or not to like say something, and you're gonna be like the villain. I just want to acknowledge that like what you did is notable, right? Because speaking up isn't always easy, but like it's something that requires integrity, and I do think that you deserve much more credit for that than people are giving you. So whether they agree with you or not, it's still like a courageous thing to do and an act of integrity, especially when you're talking about people with very large platforms.
And especially knowing what you knew. I have no doubt that even when you made the video, you knew it was going to be twisted. You knew it was not going to be understood. You knew you were going to be shouting it to the wind.
Honey, I have a Reddit of 2,000 people who spend most of their day talking shit about me. I knew that I there's an entire Reddit of people critiquing me for how I behaved when I was being abused. I knew shit was gonna get crazy. I knew people were going to paint me as a villain. I knew people were going to paint me as the whiny black girl, as the black person that's just complaining. I saw people say that like I was just mad because I didn't get screen time. I saw someone, and again, these have to be fucking children. I saw someone say that like I was triggered because Dean was going viral and I wasn't. Just a complete disregard to everything that I was saying. Every single thing. And it got to the point where I was like, I just had to laugh. You know what I mean? Like, I just had to laugh. And I knew from that point on, no one's gonna give a shit. Like, no one's gonna care. They're still going to have their platforms. Most of their followers are not going to know about this. And even if they did, most of them are not going to care. I say this because what I spoke about in my video was purely my experience as a black woman. And that is significant, right? Because if you go and look at my video, who are the other main people commenting? Other black women. If you go and look at my following list, who are the predominant group of people who follow me? Other black women. Other black people, but predominantly black women. Now, if you go and you look at these people and all of their following, there is a very clear racial disparity that you see. It is blatantly mainly white tea people. And the thing about white tea people is that when it comes to advocacy, excuse me, is that when it comes to advocacy, they need to be able to relate directly to you. And this is why they so commonly push Black and brown voices and other marginalized group voices to the side, because automatically they cannot relate to me. They can't relate to me. So what instead they will do is they will do what they always do. Because I am a Black woman, they view me as bad and I have to prove myself to be good. And that's not the same thing that Dean and Parker have to do. People see them and they assume that they are good and they have to prove themselves to be bad. But if I am already perceived as bad and I do something bad, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy to them. So when they see me and they see me talk about this video and they don't understand the racial significance of what happened to me, it just sounds like complaining to them. It sounds like I'm just complaining. And they don't understand it. And that is why these two are still going to have a platform. Because most of their following are other white tea people. And that is why other white tea people flock to these types of platforms, because other white tea liberals or leftists are not going to be able to talk about racism in the prosecutory manner that is required, right? They go over there because they make them feel comfortable. And I always say this to white tea people. If any time you find yourself in a liberal space, in a leftist space, and you are comfortable, or if at any point you are speaking in a liberal or leftist space and the white tea people are comfortable, you're doing it wrong. Because white supremacy is hingent on white comfortability. And if they are comfortable, you're not hitting what you're supposed to be hitting. If they are comfortable and they feel safe in what you're talking about, you're doing it wrong. And that is the case for them, because obviously they themselves are cishet white men. They themselves are born into centuries old white supremacy. And I say this every single time, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you think that these men who used to be past Trump supporters, who were very recently complicit in his violence, can somehow deconstruct centuries old white supremacy in the matter of 1, 2, 3 years, 5 years, even a decade, you need to sit this one out. Sit it out. Sit this conversation out immediately. Because you don't understand.
I think related to what you're saying was, again, I just think images are pretty powerful. Like this image. Oh wait, can you guys see Ben Shapiro? Because now I'm realizing, like, what, my fucking phone
Yes.
sucks.
It depends on the type of
See
phone
the
you have.
rash.
But you can. Can people in the comments see Ben Shapiro? Yes. Okay. So, like, again, I was just trying to put my head in where was Tashika coming from, because I understood like a large part of what she was saying immediately, right? But I was trying to understand all the different angles of it, right? And there was just something about this image that, look, I can't opine on Parker or Dean being white supremacists, right? But it's just kind of twisted to me that the debate world, which is largely focused around social values, which in turn is largely, right, focused on the fact that we're talking about marginalized groups, right? That this sort of debate sphere, talking about the rights of marginalized people, is largely dominated by white dudes. And I just thought this was like really symbolic of the fact you have Dean and Parker running to talk to a white dude, and then you have Dean winning the race, and then he's congratulating the other white dude. And it's just sort of like a white dude giving a handshake to another white dude, giving a handshake to another white dude, giving a handshake to another white dude, talking about issues that have almost no impact on white dudes. And again, I'm not attacking Dean and Parker, because I am them in this situation. But it really, I was trying to figure out then how the fuck do white dudes do advocacy right? And so I don't have to answer that question. It's more so, I know this isn't it. I know that an image where you have a white dude running to be able to suck on the tit of another white dude, thanking the other white dude, and then giving a shout out to the other white dude, that ain't it. And like, again, it's not that they are white supremacists. as much as it's sort of emblematic, I mean, I guess of the systemic
Yeah, I want to
racism
make
part
this
of it, right? To
clear.
some degree.
I want to make this clear. I am not, and again, I'm a black woman. I have to like say things because I don't know. I don't know. It's like every time I fucking say something, people just assume that I'm like some kind of devil person. Um, I am not calling Dean and Parker white supremacists. I'm not calling them. I don't
Exactly.
think that they hate minorities. What I do think is that they perpetuate white supremacy. What I do
So
think
benefit.
what I do think is that their platforms perpetuate white supremacy. Because even if they're not doing it on purpose, it is their default. White supremacy is their default. If you think it's not, sit the conversation out. You don't know what racism is. Second of all, again, predominantly white tea spaces like theirs breed white supremacy. These people are comfortable even speaking about me and my experience on Jubilee and whether or not my experience was racism. The comfortability of a white tea person thinking that they can come up and say that to me is why I believe that their platforms are problematic.
Well, when you talk about the white supremacy part of it, like another part of it that I kind of picked up on was the lack of understanding of the extra chances people get when they're white versus when they're black, right? So Tashika, there was obviously the cancellation with regard to AJ, right? We all know about that, right? And people were like, okay, all right, Tashika's canceled because she took a week to be able to tear herself away from a person who clearly was emotionally manipulative and was in a state of mind that would have been difficult for anyone to manage, right? She took an extra week. That's what she did. At the end of the day, that's what she did, right? Um, but like, and again, no disrespect because I'm not trying to create hate. Dean uses the N word, and that's all right. We can get over that, right? That we can move on from that. Or Dean used the F word 2 years ago. We can get over from that. And it just seems to be like if you are from a marginalized community, you got one chance. And if you fuck up, you're out. You're out.
Oh no, but that's what I mean when I say that when people see me, they automatically perceive me as a bad person. And when people
Yeah,
see
it's a different
Parker or
starting
Dean,
point.
they meet them at their good points, but when they see me, they immediately meet me at a bad point. And anything that I do is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, for example, like again, like if you already like for example, like no one likes like Trump when they first see him. So when he does something bad, you're like, it's to be expected.
Exactly.
Right, it's just easier and it just hikes up like the negative thoughts towards that person. But again, with white people, they're always given the benefit of the doubt. When you see them, you always assume the best. And so when they do something bad, they still have more space as a good person. They don't have to prove themselves good like I do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and I don't know. There was just so much symbolism. Like, I seriously recommend everyone to go watch the entire episode and always look right before people are running. I just thought it was really fucking eye opening. And I think that, like, anyone who may be in here connected to Parker or Dean, and I don't know if they are in here or not, I would love for them to just kind of like hear out the shit that's being said and not take it personally or defensively because I would say that, I took it defensively for like 5 seconds. As soon as I heard Tashika talk about it, I was kind of like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, I'm just trying to help. I'm a white dude trying to help, right? And I got defensive for like 5 fucking seconds. And then I started realizing, okay, let me just listen for a little bit, right? So I could understand getting really defensive about it and thinking, I'm trying to help the best I can. What's the big issue? God, everyone's always complaining about something. But I really think this episode has a ton to unpack. And like, I don't know. I just feel like Dean and Parker, I'm not writing you guys off by any fucking means. I just think that there's a lot to learn here that shouldn't be written off as drama and just sort of pushed to the side is all.
Oh my God, I just saw someone comment, did I change my mind when it wasn't financially beneficial? What are you talking about?
Guys, again, mute anyone
What are
who's
you,
trying to create drama in the comments.
what,
I'm just not even
what are
going to
you
tolerate
talking
that.
about? They made money
Um,
off of me. It,
Tashika, Tashika, I don't need to make this a conversation. There are people in the request. I don't
Yeah.
need this to continue. Frankly, I can end it. I will probably end it right now. I just
Mhm.
wanted to have a general talk about it.
Yeah.
I am going to ask one personal favor for people in here, and it's an important one for me. If you see Brussels, who is the second person in the panel right now, if you all could do me a very big favor, it's a really important video. It's a very deeply personal video. If you all could go to Brussels' page and look at her pinned video, she posted a very personal story yesterday that she really does want to try to get information out on. Brussels, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it. I'm not going to ask you to, but it would mean a lot. I think that, when we talk about amplifying voices and shit, it would mean a lot for people to go to Brussels' page, go to the pinned video, and just simply like it. If you could comment to boost it, it's an important story to get out there, and I'd appreciate it greatly. If you're someone who is in the grape culture debates, it's a topic that will be near and dear to your hearts. So please do that. Tashika, I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to say. I don't need to milk this at all. I just want to share my thoughts, and then
No.
I can close this up if you'd like.
Well, first of all, Irish, thank you so much for having this space. I really do appreciate you, and it really is cathartic, and it really is validating to see that like other people don't think I'm just complaining, because that's what I was afraid of. I'm happy that people are like, I'm happy that people are seeing me as like a person
Yeah, of
with
course.
like feelings, and I kind of realized that I wasn't used to being seen as a full person on this app with boundaries and feelings and trauma and a
And
personal life
flaws.
and flaws
That's the key
that
part.
can, and that is I just got so used to being depicted as a monster incapable of growth or change. And so I'm so happy that you held this space. And I really
No
do
worries.
appreciate you a lot.
Yep, no worries at all. Someone is asking if you want to go live. If you want to, go ahead and announce it. I can stay live for 2 minutes while you go live, and I'll tell everyone to go over to your live if you'd like.
Oh no, it's like 1 a.m. for me. I have to go to sleep. But I appreciate you guys a lot.
All right, I'll drop you on down. Again, I'd ask everyone to please go to Brussels' page. Please just like and share that video. If you live in Texas, it's about getting the name of a dangerous person out there as well. So if you could repost it if you live in Texas, that would be very helpful as well. I'd appreciate it. I don't want folk thinking we're going to be dragging this on. So I'm actually going to restart, and I'm just going to do a regular live. And so we'll
What's
drop
a
all of
regular
this right
live?
now. I don't know. I don't know. I'm in a venting mood right now. This was meant to be a venting live. I didn't think it would get like
I'm not
this. So.
criticizing you. I'm just
Oh no, I
asking.
know. I know.
What
Just
are we doing? Like a debate live? Are we doing more
I don't think I'm in.
videos?
What do you think? We're not going to do more videos. What do we want to do?
I don't know why I enjoyed that so much. I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to be doing more videos. I'm just not doing more videos right now.
No, that's
To
fine.
everyone wondering what it is we're talking about right now, just for anyone in here who cares about grape culture and SA, we are talking about the fact that there is a creator on this app named Officer Yudi, who's got 10 million followers, who was accused of sexual assault at a wedding. And this wedding was at the wedding of Perfectly Kelsey, who's also a large creator. And the essay involved a woman named Kendra. And a lot of people took her coming out, talking about what happened, which now has been largely validated in many ways through multiple different people. They took it as an opportunity to victim blame her, victim shame her, silence her, assassinate her character, threaten her, dox her, make up lies about her, and just vilify her. And so what Kenzie is talking about is in regard to that specific issue, I have been sort of calling out the people who have been victim blaming and victim shaming Kendra as she has been trying to get some awareness for what happened to her. One of the people we called out was a guy named Comedic Cody, who's also a large creator. He's got few million followers. And he made a couple of videos that were really disgusting, gross, the victim shaming, where at first he came out and validated her, and then immediately after he got a little bit of shit, he decided to make a video saying that she brought it on herself for dancing with the guy on the dance floor. It was just gross. Then another guy came out, a guy named Quinn Pratt, who's got 4.1 million followers on this app. Quinn Pratt 7 came out and said Kendra made up all these lies about Kendra, suggesting that she was a really dangerous person and lying about her DV past, where she was involved in a DV situation where her partner was violent. And he came out and lied about that. And then he had the audacity to say, try to find anything on me, I dare you. And so I then found out that he had lots of court records and signed affidavits alleging that he had molested a 7-year-old child when he was a young man, along with his 14-year-old brother. That there was court documents showing that he had been accused of beating up a pregnant woman, attempted SA, DV, and completed a forcible and violent rape. And when that happened, another person emerged. Their name on this app is Words Have Power MH. And that person is someone who has been defending Quinn Pratt while also invalidating Kendra, the victim. And so what Kenzie is talking about is we have spent the past few days going through Words Have Power's videos in order to expose her as a victim-blaming, narcissistic, centering app that doesn't actually care about victims, but tokenizes and uses them for clout and money. So we will be doing another one of those lives tomorrow. But for now, I just kind of want to restart the live because I don't want people thinking we did this to get viewers. So I'm just going to restart it. We'll go live, and then we can talk about what we want to do then, Kenzie, okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the debate.
All right, I'm going to restart. I'm going to go live straight away. If y'all can go to, actually, hang on. If there are, sorry to take advantage of this, but if there are any people in here who do care about grape culture and do want to support SA victims who are being tormented on this app, what I would ask is if you could go to this person's page. This would be actually helpful. This person's page right here, Words Have Power MH. If you look at the top, it says their full username. So if you take that screenshot, Words Have Power MH, that's her on the left. She is someone who is supporting the man who court documents allege is a rapist, DV'er, beat up a pregnant woman, helped molest or did molest a 7-year-old child. And she is trying to silence people speaking on behalf of the 7-year-old child, and is threatening to contact the victim's family. Her videos are up right now, and she's disgusting. She has 14 videos basically talking about this case, dissecting it wrongly, making a lot of false assumptions and giving out bad information. She's a former cop who pretends to be a victim's advocate today. It's really weird and goofy. And so if you guys could go report her profile and report her most recent videos, especially where she talks about harassing the victim's family, those are the past 8 videos she's made. That would really be helpful, and I'd appreciate it. So if you take a screenshot, she sided with a perp. It's disgusting. She's also someone who believes it's appropriate to call black people monkeys. That's not a joke. After being told multiple times not to use certain terms, including the word monkey, she has denied that request because she feels special, while also claiming to be an ally of black people. Like, I can't make this shit up. So I'm going to go live talking about this person, but I'm going to end this live so there's no carryover.
Irish, are you going to go, or when you restart, are you going to...
On this account.
On this account. Okay, just
I'm going to go live in 5 seconds.
We're not debating?
We'll maybe debate. Let's go live. I just don't want anyone thinking we're carrying over people. So if you want to come back. I'm going to go live in 5 seconds.
Can I ask a question? Are there car people in here? What are those thingies, those posts that stick out of the wheels of a car called?
Huh?
What?
Things that poke out of the car wheel? Would you say that again? Lori's laughing.
Fingers or elbows? I feel like that's not right.
That's exactly what it was.
Spoke.
Yeah, no, that's what you were talking about. I already looked up what you were talking about. Women and anyone with a uterus is being criminalized and persecuted. Christians like to say that they are being persecuted, but in reality, they are persecuting everyone around them that they don't like.
Okay, this seems boring.
It is time to stand up and fight right now.
Why is she always saying to stand up and fight while sitting in a chair doing nothing?
It almost looks like, did you ever see Hunger Games?
Yeah, which one? Which person?
What's her name? God, she's everywhere too.
Like one of the district people, or
No, the female Julianne Moore's character.
No, don't say she looks like Julianne Moore.
The thing to consider is that across the
I'm not
US,
accepting
and
that.
I'm saying she looks like Julianne Moore. Like Julianne Moore had white hair in that role. I'm saying this is what it reminds me of. Like she's just like a fucking Star Trek leader coming to us through technology, like as our leader.
That makes sense.
Do something.
And different places are talking about expunging the records of people who were arrested for a cannabis cigarette or things like this, right? So they're going to be losing a large portion of that prison population where they make a bunch of money. How can they keep that prison population up and control women and girls at the same time, taking all of our rights away? Make it to where if you have a uterus, you might be a criminal. That keeps the prison population up. Think about it for a second. But it's not just women, it's also LGBTQ plus people, it's trans people, so on and so forth. Now, a thing to consider is that across the US...
Next.
So
this one's pretty boring.
Now, in minority communities, for the most part, it is the women who are keeping the communities together. Black women, indigenous women, so on and so forth.
But not white-ass women like yourself. So why do you keep tokenizing these other women?
hey, Irish, maybe
Yes?
for the new people in the room, you could give like the briefest rundown of the list.
All right, so...
Just some of your faves from the 900 that are on there.
It doesn't have everything in there, though. So we'll just do what we have, okay? So this person who we're talking about has... And here she is here again. So this person here has essentially adopted multiple identities, which she then tokenizes and weaponizes in order to get clout on TikTok. So far, 8 or 9 months into her videos, here are what it is she has so far adopted or claimed in terms of her identities and or things that have happened to her. She is claimed to be Cherokee, Scots-Irish, European Indigenous, white and pale, a non-believer, a Bible expert, a pagan, a witch, a satanic temple practitioner, an Egyptian mythic, a believer in voodoo, and she's exploring making her own religion. She's LGBTQ, queer, bisexual, poly, non-binary, not trans, a woman, and a member of BIPOC. She's a human. She's a Valkyrie. She's a ninja. She's a vampire. She's a nomad. She's a music addict. She's a coffee addict. She's an ancient history expert. She's an archer. She's a fencer. She's a Krav Maga practitioner, a martial arts expert trained by military experts, pew-pewing since the age of 8, smoker, disabled, chronic illness, speech impediment, PTSD, depression, neuro-unique, synesthesia sufferer, communicates with plants, animals, water, and the moon, and lives in possible haunted house. Experienced fendom for 20 years, pro grape kinks like CNC, brags about multiple orgasms, and abusive to her partner. Ex-SA advocate, ex-security guard, ex-Sheriff's deputy, ex-world traveler, ex-lawmaking legislator, future screenwriter, currently unemployed, begs for money on TikTok, uses donations for smokes, favors donations of makeup over baby clothes, several degrees, BS in criminal justice, a degree in business, possible PhD, multiple certifications. She has consoled Black friends who are asked to straighten their hair, consoled trans friends who were told how to dress at work. She has helped queer people recover from addiction. She has even helped participate in Supreme Court cases. She's helped many women build cases against stalkers, arrested one person as a cop, got 3 people arrested on TikTok. She has lawyer friends, she has engineer friends, she has judges as friends. She knows a CPS friend who sells babies. She knows judges who uses escorts at work. She has trans friends across the world, has many trans family members, had LGBTQ friends kicked out of homes, had friend murdered due to DV, had 7 trans friends unalived. She was bullied in school, now has a BTK-like stalker. She was sexually harassed at the age of 8 in 1982, For a phone number, she was regularly threatened with rape, regularly receives death threats from unnamed individuals. She met one serial killer at work. She was almost unalived by a second unaliver. Her child was threatened by a third serial unaliver. She converted a fourth serial unaliver who was a gay cannibal. Her friend's dad was a fifth serial unaliver, and her friend's sibling was unalived by a sixth serial unaliver, and then that friend then unalived themselves. So that's who we're talking about. And we are going through each of their videos to identify every time they tell a lie or share something that is very, very clearly exaggerated, and or we have noticed her evolution of her identity from a pale white woman vampire to she is now slowly starting to identify as an indigenous trans person. And it appears that they may be tokenizing these in order to be able to inoculate herself from external criticism. So we're going to continue with our videos. We are now on April 25th, 2022. Let the videos begin.
To tear down those families,
Yes,
to
done.
even further, and make them even more vulnerable than they already are after the war on drugs and everything. Was just
And she's constantly talking about trying to protect Black people, trans people, any marginalized community, while never doing anything at all and just talking down to people.
targeted at Black
Oh, and
communities,
just one quick
and
thing.
poor white communities.
She's also a manic poster, so there's like 100 videos a day.
Others
Roughly.
criminalize the daughters.
Allegedly.
Further grind down those families. They'll still have the jaywalking and the traffic ticket citations that they can then turn into felonies. But if they can criminalize a woman's uterus and take that uterus away potentially to bust down the minorities even further, they will. So right now, abusers never want to give up power and control over their victims, ever. They want to retain power and control at all costs. And what happens if you take birth control, the ability to choose whether or not to be pregnant, and freedoms and liberties away from women? What happens? They will be further and further and further victimized and brutalized.
Shocker. You're not dropping bombs. We understand this.
And the people in power want to retain that power. The best way they can do that is to knock women out of the way. That's why all this is happening. It's all about power and control. Your religion is your religion. It should have no bearing on my life or ability to live.
Do you hear her child playing in the background? Do you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Keep it to yourself. So
Next.
now we get to the war on LGBTQ plus people. Because they can't just focus on one group, they're going to focus on all the different groups that they hate at the same time. It makes you tired. It wears you down. It grinds you down. And then you also have divide and conquer. So get women angry over here, LGBTQ plus people angry over here, minority groups angry over here, all divided. They have a
4-year-old child in the house with them while they smoke and go on TikTok.
less power that way. So take a step back, regroup, everyone come together and fight together, and you will win this situation.
Yeah, fight together. I'm not going to give you specifics what that means, and I'm not going to try to socially organize you. I'm just going to keep making TikToks telling you all how you're doing it wrong.
Because it's all about power and control. They cannot
You are trying to control people by pretending to be a white savior.
stand that those of us in the rainbow group are living freely, living our best lives, living true to ourselves, and not afraid. And that's the thing. These Christian evangelicals are terrified of losing. Now we get to the war on
Next.
And now we get to BIPOC people.
It's just the way she goes, let me see if people care about LGBTQ. Let's see if they care about BIPOC.
BIPOC people and communities. These ye supremacist, fake Christians.
It's white tea.
Absolutely terrified of minority people. All of them, but especially Black people and Indigenous people. Especially Black women and Indigenous women. Why? Because y'all are stronger than they are. You always have been. These ye supremacists, and that's all that all of them are really. They want and need to contain and restrain and hold all of the power and control. Y'all are coming up in the world, and that terrifies them. And me, I love it. Every bit of it. All of it. I'm here for it. And now we get to BIPOC people and
Like, what was communicated?
So, this country has been trying to destroy BIPOC communities, LGBT+.
Also, she's like talking to nobody, by the way.
It's what's most frustrating.
The very
Yeah, she'll be like, She'll be like, my DMs, people are saying these things, and then she'll do like 15 videos about nobody.
It's beyond frustrating.
European was a country.
Wait,
Isn't
what?
European since the very beginning? Before there even was a country. As soon as the Europeans stepped foot on this continent, that's what they've been trying to do.
You're one of those Europeans. You're Scots-Irish.
Period. Point blank. They hate women. They hate any minority community. They hate LGBTQ plus people. They hate. They're sexist, racist, misogynistic, anti-Semitic. You name it. It's all just
Why do you keep saying they?
hate. At this point, Christianity.
Such a weak analysis.
It's so tired.
Hate. Jesus wouldn't recognize Christianity as being anything but that which he hated himself and fought against. So all these people who go on and on about how horrible women are for ending in pregnancy, go look in a mirror.
Oh my God.
So you have the war on drugs when drugs are being funneled in by the government into minority communities.
She's the most disappointed in you person ever.
It's like she...
I'm such a disappointment to her.
But it's like she read about all this stuff we learned about 25 years ago. She's about to talk about drugs in communities now. Like, we've known this for 25 years. It's not a hot take.
Purposefully. You have the AIDS epidemic, which gay men were just allowed to just be unalived. Wasn't a big deal. Women went in and helped them. Any possible way that the people in these groups, that these so-called Christians don't like any way to grind them down. These Christians will. And if you are a Christian and you're not calling out this filth being perpetrated in your religion's name, then you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. If you're not stepping up and screaming out against what they're doing, you're part of the problem.
Okay, but you sitting on TikTok shouting about it while sitting on a chair to people who aren't even engaging with you is also not helping things.
I keep saying that racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism, classism, ableism, all of the hate is all connected. And it's all connected to weakness and cowardice within these people. They don't even know that they're cowards. They don't even know that they're weak. They think they're fully valid. And all of their hate, because that is what they have been taught by their ministers and all this and that, who are living in mansions. These people are tithing to these preachers and whatnot, so they can go buy a new plane. Wolves in sheep's clothing, false prophets. What did the Bible say about that?
You are so
The
projecting.
Bible also said, judge not, lest you be judged thyself, but then they are really good at
I love how she's read the Bible multiple times, but she quotes the same fucking verse like every time.
judging, aren't they? It's time for everyone to come together and fight now. I keep saying,
You keep saying we have to fight. How exactly?
there's a point to these videos I'm doing today.
Is there?
I've been warning people for a long time, a
About
lot of
that.
years, about information I came across right there on the internet.
Oh, we're not surprised your learning came from the internet. We're just surprised that you think it's original.
Easy to find. Look up Dominionist Christianity and also the 7-0 mandate. There's more. Those two things will lead you to a whole lot of information, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is being done on purpose. All of these anti-trans bills, anti-women's bills is being done on purpose. And next,
Yeah, it's to pick on one group so that people start hating them so they don't hate rich people. Like, it's not complicated.
up next, more laws against BIPOC people, Jewish people. It goes on and it won't stop until everyone is crushed under fascist boots. You need to wake up. Start doing this research right now. I can hand it
Yeah, people, you need to wake up as to your own oppression.
to you, but you may not even believe me. Look it up for yourself. They have been planning this for decades, and they're doing it now. There's a point to these videos I'm doing.
Okay.
Really annoying. Like, thank you, white lady, for telling other people about their own oppression.
And she only has the most surface level like things to say.
I didn't want to
At
call it
all.
analysis, yeah.
It's just talking points of like, if I were to act like somebody who cared and was a leftist, this is what I would say, and then I'm just gonna say it repeatedly
Right?
and contradict myself constantly.
She doesn't, yeah, like, there's no colonization, there's no, like, she doesn't mention colonization, intersection. Oh.
No,
Systemic, nothing.
she does. She calls
She-
herself intersectional, but that's about it.
She thought stalking didn't exist before 1995.
I'm not sure if she thinks that she may have created the word stalking. I'm not lying.
People
Oh yeah.
took over Christianity.
What was that? There was one I reacted to in the Discord that was wild.
Say that again?
There was one on the list that I reacted to in the Discord that was crazy.
I mean, you'd really have to narrow it down. I personally think knowing 8 serial killers in your lifetime, to me, that's the most insane, the most statistically impossible.
It's a little much. And also, like, the person who BTK'd her, but like didn't get her, she didn't like know that he was stalking her until he was
Oh,
already being
sorry.
taken out of her apartment by the police, and also that was the last time,
I, I,
and
I,
he had stalked thousands of people.
I don't even think that's the worst. Like Tylee again, I'm with her. Like I think
Yes.
converting a gay cannibal serial unaliver to go after a woman, I think that is really impressive, in my opinion. Like being so hot as a woman that you convert a gay cannibal unaliver, serial unaliver.
Yeah, she's a hero.
They're trying to take
The
out
one I reacted to on the Discord was she purports to be Thanos.
Yeah, she purported to be planning on a way to unalive all men. That's how I summarized it as Thanos.
Gotcha. Also,
Don't
why
get
am I not a
excited.
mod in your Discord?
I don't really have mods. I have Shubity.
if you're not a yeet man who's wealthy, that's the thing.
Wait, did you really ask me that question? Do you want me to ask you? Are you
You have to
serious?
be wealthy. You're going to be living
Yeah, I want to abuse power.
that will be hard to get out of. That's why they don't want you reading Handmaid's Tale, 1984, or any of those other books. They don't want you to know. That's why they're trying to take over school.
1984 was literally in high school, wasn't it? Isn't that part of high school curriculum?
And the prison industrial complex and all of it, and make it to where they can make money off of that, off of you and your children.
So everyone agrees you all have never heard the word yeet, or let me rephrase it. You all have never heard YT pronounced yeet, right? This is the first time,
Never.
correct, people?
Never, except for the 90 times watching her videos. And also, she says rabbi as rabbi. So
love that
do
part.
with that as you will.
Videos tonight.
Wait,
Why did I do these videos tonight?
we have no idea.
Because I'm a woman, and I have 2 daughters, one of whom is now a woman. And
It's a weird way of putting it. She's an 18-year-old with a child.
if they have some of the reproductive issues I've had, my daughters, then, well, they may need to end a pregnancy, and you may not have a choice. It could be life or death, just like it was for me, on 4 separate occasions.
Did we add that to the list? That she claimed to have 4 life-saving abortions? Can we add to the list? To the
Are we
list.
talking late term?
Insane.
Are we
Yeah, she
talking
said
late term?
4. No, it doesn't matter. She said she required 4 life-saving abortions. She said that. So can we add that to the list? To the list, 4 life-saving abortions.
Her life is like so decadent, you know?
I wasn't even coherent for it, and I don't even remember fully what happened. I've had 4 pregnancies that could have killed me. And these Christians right now are trying to make it to where if I'm pregnant again, I might die. Or one of my daughters. And also, on my...
You're 50. Like, I don't mean to... Am I being rude to women over 50 when I say don't get pregnant?
Why are you saying it?
Because I don't want her to get pregnant. At all. I feel like 2 is enough.
Well, is it because she's 50 or is it just because she's her?
Because it's her.
Then no, I wouldn't say that's rude.
LGBTQ plus siblings, on my BIPOC siblings.
Wait. Are you using that word as...
Also, on my LGBTQ plus siblings, on my BIPOC siblings, on my...
Why is she separating herself from it now?
I mean, because that's what she does.
That's why.
You're so profound to call Black people, Indigenous people, and gay people and trans people your siblings. You are the perfect
In
person.
the club, we all fam.
In the club, we all fam.
All right, keep going, keep fighting, never give up hope. You're so inspirational.
So, why am I fighting this way on a social media app?
We don't know.
I used to be out on the front lines at protests and doing all kinds of work.
Weren't you a world traveler / security guard at a hotel / worked at music venues / cop? How did you have time to go protesting all the time?
Because of chronic illness, I can't do that anymore. I'm fighting the only way I can right now.
Which is what?
They want you to say it too.
They want what?
They want you to say it too. In the club, we all fam.
I don't know. I've seen the original. Like, I don't know. All right, say it one more time.
In the club, we all fam.
No, I feel like that's going to become an offensive term to say, and like I'm going to get in trouble tomorrow. No. You two have the.
No, Sabrina Carpenter did it. You're fine.
What, is she the one who gets away with it? All right, Nutka, do it one more time.
In the club, we all fam. I don't know. I just am.
Okay, Kenzie.
In the club, we all fam.
In the club, we are fam. That's how it ends.
Inside of the
No,
club,
it
we are
ends
family.
in family.
I tricked you all. You both did the club part. I did the finisher. Cope.
Why can't you do the club?
Because it
In the
sounds good.
Well, someone said you farted on live and it sounded like hemorrhoids and soup.
That it probably smelled like that too.
No, I have not. I talked about the fact that I was very blocked, but no.
I feel better. I can actually get up and do this, and I'm not filling out job applications.
Wait, say that
I
again?
can now. And when you see me doing a whole bunch of videos, that's because I feel better. I can actually get up and do this, and I'm not filling
You've been making a whole bunch of videos for 8 months.
out job applications. I can actually try to share information and get people thinking. Because once you start thinking, which is the very thing these people don't want you to do, they don't want you to ask questions or think. But when you start doing that, then you've already started taking that path towards opening things up and taking their power and their control away from them. Keep going.
Is she a Scientologist? Like, what's happening?
No.
When extremist Christians
No, unfortunately, I think she's very traumatized.
I agree. And I need her to realize it because she's hurting other people.
From Occupy.
Because like I've seen DMs of her in the past just 24 hours even, and like she's not backing down at all. She's still talking about contacting the family, like in DMs.
Democrats on Twitter. Interesting. From Occupy Democrats on Twitter. There's a tweet. Breaking. Disney hits back hard at Ron DeSantis, and the GOP says that Florida can't legally dissolve its self-governing district unless the state pays off the district's $1 billion with a B. $1 billion debts due to a pledge in the original 1967 law. Wow. How'd that work out for you, DeSantis? How's that working out for you, GOP? Florida, you're being screwed over by DeSantis so hard, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse if Disney leaves. Property tax are going to go up. Everything's going to go up. You're going to hate it. Just let me know right now. Good luck.
Oh my,
Interesting.
like what is the, oh, yes.
There's a term that irritates the
Oh,
hell out of
let me guess. Reactive abuse is not reactive abuse. It's actually self-defense.
me. And that term is reactive abuse. It's bullshit. Please
do it.
don't use that term. Why? Because if someone runs up to you on the street and starts hitting you and you defend yourself, you have every right to defend yourself. It's called self-defense, right? Why is it that in an intimate relationship, we strip victims of abuse of that term self-defense, and we, for whatever reason, decided to reinvent the wheel and create a term like reactive abuse?
Because reactive abuse is meant to be abusive behavior you engage in that does not have a close proximity to when someone has done something harmful to you. Like, it's not that complicated. If someone hits you and you hit them back, that's not called reactive abuse. That's self-defense. Reactive abuse is if someone's been beating you your entire life and then you wake up and you unalive them, that is reactive abuse. That's not self-defense. That's reactive abuse.
Never forget the infamous hand squatting incident of last weekend.
Fair point. Let's all bow our head.
Abuse.
Have you seen
Term
Shrinking?
abuse.
What?
Have you seen Shrinking?
With
It's
Matt
on Apple
Damon?
TV.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, the one with
Stephen Carell and
Matt Damon?
no, it's Harrison Ford.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Harrison Ford and Jason Segel.
yeah,
No.
that's who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he has Jason Segel. They're all therapists, and he has one who's heavily emotionally and psychologically abused by her husband. And so he advises that she just do like little things to counteract it. You know, like when he starts talking about how good his coffee is, just like boop and like pushing in the sink. And at the end, he he's really criticizing her, and she pushes him off a cliff and says, "Boop." It was really good.
Okay, that's kind of funny. All right, let's go back.
Take your power back, lady.
I think you would really like it. You remind me of Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It's not the first time I've heard. No, it's actually literally the first time I've heard.
Hear that term, they latch onto it and say, see, the victim's being abusive too. No. Self-defense. It's not reactive abuse. It is self-defense. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's a term that irritates. All right, so let's break down this term reactive abuse a bit further so I can extrapolate this. We don't use this term for somebody who is the victim of a carjacking, home invasion, armed robbery, or any other kind of violent crime.
That's because the violence is in close proximity to the reaction.
Just for people who are victims of abuse. So DV, stalking, SAR, if that person, if that victim tries to defend themselves, suddenly it somehow becomes reactive.
No, they're allowed to defend them. What is wrong? It's so harmful that she calls herself an SA advocate.
Abuse, even though it isn't. It is self-defense. By using that term reactive abuse, you're victim blaming. You're telling that victim they did something wrong. And you're telling that abuser that that victim was abusive to them. Abusers, if you give them an inch, they will take a whole mile. They'll take everything they can, whether you want them to or not. Stop using that term. All right, so let's break down.
Okay.
Part of the reason I'm talking about this term reactive abuse is because it keeps coming up in conversations around the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that's going on right now. From everything that I've seen, and I know that I haven't seen everything, but from everything that I've seen, it looks to me as if Johnny Depp was the victim and Amber Heard was the abuser. When you look
Interesting for a victim's advocate. Okay.
at her past,
Yep.
when you look at her prior arrests for DV with other relationships and how she treats people, I think Johnny Depp's the victim. I think Amber Heard was the abuser. And we have to be very, very careful with the terminology and words that we use in relationship to DV victims and how they respond to being abused. You have a right to defend yourself if you are physically violently attacked. You have every right to defend yourself. Self-defense is the appropriate. Part of the reason I'm talking.
All right. To the list. Pro Johnny Depp.
It's also giving very pro like Israeli state.
Pro
Did
Johnny.
you hear that at the end? You have a right to defend yourself. It just felt very.
Yeah, we'll see where she goes because we're still like a fucking year and a bit away from that.
Yeah, it could be a Zionologist.
So if you follow me, you're probably already.
Republicans plan to take. It does. Sure, it does not.
No.
So break this.
What?
Sorry. Okay.
Hey guys.
Hi.
So I just realized that I have over 4,000 videos.
Well, that saves us the time. Would we have guessed? It's been, we started July 25th, so that's 3 months from now. So 9 months. Can someone do the math on that? Is 9 months like 275 days or what is it? It's about 275, right?
Plus,
what did
she's
she
like
say?
saving
It says
lives.
4,000, so that's 8 videos a day.
She said this is
But
her
she's-
4,000th video?
All right.
Hey guys. So I just realized that I have over 4,000 videos.
I am so dedicated to this.
That is
With little to no
insane.
engagement.
And I've done, and like, to be fair though, over the 4 years, like, I don't want to disrespect or denigrate what she's managed to accomplish. Over the past 4,000 videos and 9 months, she has built a really sizable, considerable, engaged following. And so let's not not pay homage to that.
Gone. So you're going to see a lot of videos from me when I'm feeling up to it and I have the time and energy. I'm just going to do a bunch of videos. I'm not trying to spam y'all, but there's some just
You're so fucking spamming.
amazing content creators on here. And I just want to boost them. And a lot of what they're saying is spot on. It is so good, so well done that I just want to highlight them and disseminate information. So yeah, there will be a lot of videos because it's over 4,000. So between my content.
She boosts them?
She what?
She's the one that boosts them. With her rabbit following.
Where I feel up to it.
She's the one that boosts them. Right.
Hopefully y'all aren't. Hey guys. So I
Safe state.
I should save that. If someone to the list, 4,000 videos in 9 months.
You point to anybody?
No, but someone will put it in.
Oh, no, as far as saving the video.
Whoa,
no,
Teeny
they're all
says
going to
that's
one person now.
14.8
Okay.
And if they
videos
don't
per day.
download it, I'll just download it at this point.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Irish.
anyway.
What?
Teeny said that that would be 14.8 videos per day.
No, that's not right. 275, 4,000, 4 times 4 is 16. Wait, how many did she say?
14 point something.
14.8 videos per day.
How many did I say? I didn't say 16. I must have miscounted. What? I said 8?
Well, I don't know what you
You
said.
said 8.
Why did I say 8? That's weird. All right, let's go back.
Oh, it's fucked up.
What?
Indigenous people have been warning Europeans about this very subject.
You must be very internally conflicted by that.
Wait, where were they just warning your what?
Europeans about safe space. Well, no, it's fucked up.
Articles I've read say we have very little time to fix the issue. The issue of white women? I don't know what the issue is. I think it's the issue of white women. Let's play.
Yeah, we are kind of
People have
problematic.
been warning Europeans about this very subject for a long time, and no one listened. But at least now y'all are listening, so that's good. Yeah. Well, no, it's fucked up. Indigenous.
Is this like an I told you so video? Like, what is that? I don't understand the point of that.
You all want to
It's
see?
just like, hey, I'm gonna be me. But it's, I don't know. It's like, who are you trying to convince? This is
Betty's
so
White,
creepy.
excuse the hell out of this. I'm done being nice. Every week you put out a video saying you're done with being nice. You know you're going to lose followers and you don't care. And if you disagree, get out.
Incoming. Cussing. Rage. All the shit. If you don't like it, get the fuck. I want to know who this officer is. I want to know their fucking name.
Anyone want to guess that she's going to drop that she's a former ex-officer?
I want to know who this officer is.
What are you going to do? Kick their ass, you weirdo?
And I
Call
also
your judge friends.
Right.
have their badge number. What in the actual motherfucking fuck? What the fuck? As an ex-sheriff's deputy and an ex-victim's advocate, you're gonna
You know, you didn't need to...
arrest the victim in a DV situation out by their abuse.
Didn't she literally say that in New Orleans, they always have to arrest the victim and the perp? Like, that, like you used to
Victim's
do...
advocate, you're gonna arrest the victim in a DV situation who was strangled out by their abuser? You fucking piece of shit. You do not deserve to have that fucking badge. You can get put sideways wrong with a goddamn picture. What is wrong with you? Out your
This is so helpful, by the way, people. This is...
goddamn mind. And it isn't standard policies and procedures to check the IDs of people. If she was choked out and he's the abuser, you should check his ID for warrants. And you didn't. And you let him drive off with her vehicle, thus depriving her of her personal private property, giving it over to the abuser, let him drive off all happy and joy with her fucking shit. Brilliant. And then you fucking arrest her because she brings up CPS. Because she's saying that you let him take off with her car. And you fucked up and didn't check for warrants. You didn't run his ID.
This video is really gonna change
Like,
things.
if I were your
It's really
FTO,
gonna progress this
Park
case
walk.
forward
You
in a meaningful way.
directly out of your fucking police unit. What the fuck is wrong with you arresting a victim? Yeah, I'm angry. I'm letting out all the rage I had to contain for years, seeing shit like this go down. If you can't pull your head out of your ass,
You were a jail bailiff helping cops put these like innocent people in jail. What are you talking
figure out who the
about?
victim is, who the abuser is, take care of the victim, get them a victim's advocate, and arrest the abuser after he strangled the victim, which, guess what, increases the likelihood that that victim might be unalived by 15% or more. Do you want another Gabby Petito
Is that the first statistic we've heard from her in 9 months? I think it is. That's the first bit of information I've heard her drop.
case?
I've been listening, yeah.
I hope that officer sees this video. Get fucked. I don't care if I lose my page. I don't give a fuck.
I called it. I said she would say, I don't care if I lose. All right, we're doing a bingo for every video. I said, I don't care if I lose my page and ex-sheriff's office. I win that round of bingo.
And ex-advocate.
Fuck off.
And ex-advocate.
You do not deserve to have a badge. You
Did she bring up a name? Did she bring up a story? Did she bring up anything? Because she's, she keeps saying, I want his badge number.
A stitch video.
It's a stitch. Oh, okay.
That's all.
What training did you get? Did it come out of a Cracker Jack box? Where did this happen? I need phone numbers. I need all the information.
Are you going to call their manager? Fucking white women energy.
Can you please go back to when she hit her desk?
Don't lie, you liked it last night.
Part of the problem. And you're a woman and you should know better. What training did you get? Did it come out of a Cracker Jack box? Where did this
What?
happen? I need photos. I need all the information. If anyone out there has it, DM me, put it in the comments. I don't even care. Dox that bitch. I do not give a fuck anymore.
Whoa!
What in the
Go. Wow.
Oh, man.
Okay, so hang on. What are we saying? We're saying Doc's. Hang on, Doc's cop. All right, that's wild. Doc's cop, and I mean, what? Asked to speak to manager, I guess. Asked to speak to manager. Sweet. Next.
We're past Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah, solidly.
Why is it anytime women are talking about things that pertain to us and that we deal with on the daily, on the regular, men have to come in and be like, but what about men? But we deal with that too. Oh my God. Can you stay on topic?
Can you be funny? Like, oh.
Is it possible for men to stay on topic when women are
Hey, Angela.
talking about women and women's issues? I'm just curious. Is it a thing that can y'all consider what the topic of conversation is and stay there? Does everything have to be centered around men 24/7, 365? You will have your sex pinched by pinchers and things jabbed up in there and tell
Fuck that.
me how it feels.
It doesn't sound very good. I'll pass.
Oh wait, you don't have one. Okay, I guess that's a no.
It's a no for other reasons. Fuck? I'm just gonna skip that video. I'm kind of disturbed by that video.
Let's go, Brandon, huh? Well, being as you are apparently a doctor, you should be able to explain to everyone why an ectopic pregnancy cannot be extracted and then reimplanted in utero. Also, explain to us what fibroids do to or can do to a woman when she's pregnant. You should be able to cite your sources. Don't forget that. Zygotes, embryos, and fetuses are not babies. They have the potential to become babies, but they are not babies, and no one's talking about murdering babies. Let's go, Brandon. Really? You stan a politician? Yo. You will never be able to eradicate or end abortions completely. They will always happen. Women will always find a way. We always have. Throughout human history. There has been no point in human history where women have not been able to find a way to end a pregnancy. Just is what it is. Let's go, Brandon, huh?
All right. I don't want to talk about
It
it.
just is what it is, okay? So we're just gonna be out here getting abortions. There's nothing you can do about it. Wow.